Margins, gross margins, run rate, EBITDA. There are all these finance terms and numbers that you might think you need to know as a business owner, and it can get kind of overwhelming. There are just three I want you to focus on, and I'm going to teach you those today. These are the three that you have to know, otherwise, your business is really just going to be a hobby, and we don't want that for you. If you're like me, you didn't start your business because you were dying to be a bookkeeper or an accountant. Well, unless you are a bookkeeper or an accountant. But I started my business, my first one, my second one really. My first one was a film production company, and my second one was Little Pim, which was language teaching for young children. And I was so excited about helping parents to be their children's first foreign language teacher. But before I knew it, I was deep in invoices and collecting payments from all different sources, and it just got away from me. I actually didn't love that part at all, and I didn't have any training in it. So I acted a little bit like an ostrich with my head in the sand. Like, let me just make the money, and if I ignore the finances, maybe they'll just take care of themselves. Well, didn't work out that way, and it doesn't work out that way for anyone. If you don't take care of your finances, what's going to happen pretty quickly is you're not going to have a grasp on what the real money makers are in your business, or what your cash flow is, or how much you can invest in marketing. We know that 50% of all small businesses go out of business within 5 years. And that's usually because they run out of cash. So even if you don't have a finance background, and I didn't, getting your arms around your finances is one of the most important things you can do. The three numbers I want you to pay attention to are summed up in this little adage that I'm going to teach you. So here we go. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king, or I like to say queen. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is queen. And it so happens these are the three numbers that you need to learn in order to run your business successfully and start scaling. So let's go over these. Revenue is vanity because you will hear lots of entrepreneurs bragging about big revenue numbers. Oh, we're making 100 million a year. We're doing 10 million a day, but you don't know what their cost center is. So if someone's making, let's just say 5 million in their business, but they're only taking home 100,000 of that as profit, well, I'd rather run a $500,000 business and take home $300,000. I'm sure you would too. So you have to know how much of your revenue is actually hitting the bank account and not just getting paid out to cover inventory, team, marketing, etc. So don't get caught up in those big revenue numbers. You do want to track your revenue. That is one of the three things, and you're probably already doing that. But now let's move on to number two, which is profit is sanity. And that's because then you really know, what are my margins in my business? How much am I spending on inventory? How much am I spending on outsourcing or getting team members who can do things for me that I don't want to do myself, or working with consultants? Your business has expenses, everything from the software to your office, to your team, to any kind of inventory purchases. So I want to make sure that you're looking at that number on a regular basis and figuring out, are my prices keeping up with my expenses? Do I need to raise prices? Am I underselling myself? And also, when you do projections, if you're not already doing those, that's just writing up how much money you want to make every year. That's a great time also to look at, what are my margins on each aspect of my business, to make sure that you're focusing on the high margin aspects of your business and not on the ones that just make you feel good because they make a lot of money. Remember, revenue is vanity, but don't actually have those high margins. The third thing is cash is queen. And that's because if you have that cash in your business, because you've been keeping an eye on the first two, bringing in the revenue and making sure that you're keeping costs under control, then you'll have the cash to invest in marketing, to hire a chief operating officer, to bring in that social media person so you don't have to keep doing everything all yourself. Whatever those expenses are that are going to help you scale up so much faster. I hope you'll pay a little more attention to one of those three that you've been neglecting, and don't be like me, like an ostrich with your head in the sand, like I was in my first business. I got a harsh wake-up call when we almost ran out of cash at one point. I wrote about that. I wrote about that experience in $1 Million Women. And I just said, all right, that's it. Now I'm learning how to do all the finances that I need, that probably should have learned before. So I don't want you to have that experience. Just learn it now and make sure that you're keeping your eye on the numbers that matter in your business. If you want to reach out and set up a call with us, you can go to millionwomen.com and check out our programs, Accelerator Express and Sales Cure and Sales Cure Live. And you can always head over to scalewithjulia.co and set up a call to talk about your business or any challenges you're having. Great to have you with me today. And I hope until I see you next time, stay brave and go big.